Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We hope you are safe and sound wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the College Success Mastery Virtual Summit 2020. I'm Joey Ban from Edu Experts, your host at this summit. Well, I can see that we've got a lot of participants coming in from Malaysia, from Japan, and from Mongolia. Teacher Abbas, I can see you there. Hi, welcome on board. We'll just wait a couple more minutes for participants to come in. We've got participants watching from Facebook as well. How's everyone doing? All right, so I want you to type in your chat box now, from where are you watching this from? Okay, type from where are you watching this from so that I know where you are coming from. Wow, lots and lots from Japan, Japan, Mongolia, Malaysia. Hi, everyone. Nice to have you guys on board. Okay, just a couple of reminders before we start. If you're watching this on the phone, I would encourage you to switch over to your PC or laptop, as many of our speakers will be sharing slides on the screen and it'll be easier for you to read the information on a bigger screen. Get your favorite drink, pen and paper ready so that you can jot down important information during the session. Turn off all your distractions and focus on the speakers. Do bear with us in case we experience technical glitches. All right, our technical team will try and fix the issue as soon as we can. For those of you who are watching this on Zoom, you can type your questions in the chat function. And for those watching on Facebook, you can type your questions in the comments section. We'll address all your questions at the end of the speaker's presentation. If you have not joined the CS Mastery private Facebook group, we strongly encourage you to do so because all the summit recordings will be available in the private group for the next 6 months. All right, let's begin. 11:04, once again, welcome to the College Success Mastery Virtual Summit. For those who've just joined, I'm Joey Ban from Edu Experts and I'm your host at this summit. I'm an education consultant and I work with families and students on college and university admissions. The COVID-19 pandemic caught us all off guard and disrupted the plans of many families and students this year. As we speak, most universities around the world are still offering classes online or in some form of blended learning. However, we do hope that things will return to normal soon and students can feel safe again to travel abroad and pursue their educational goals. Despite COVID, learning and preparation must go on because university education will remain an important decision for students and their families. It's never too early to start your preparation. That brings us to this summit. Our team is very glad that we've managed to put together a solid lineup of experts from around the world to share their expertise, knowledge, and experience to help you achieve success. We've deliberately kept the topics very wide to benefit those who are unsure about their paths. We hope to get your full participation and look forward to questions from you. Catch as many of the sessions on this summit as you possibly can. If you miss any sessions, come back to the Facebook group and watch the recordings later, but try and catch us live if you can, because you get to interact with the speakers and have your questions answered live. Now let's move to our first speaker on the summit. We're very glad to have Laurence Liu with us this morning. Born and raised in Los Angeles, California, Laurence Liu graduated from UCLA with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering and a Master of Fine Arts in Music Performance. He also holds an MBA. Laurence has served in leadership positions in companies such as IBM and is currently a professor of business and social entrepreneurship at Foothill College in San Francisco. He also serves as Business Department Faculty Chair. In his session, Laurence will share interesting insights about the future of careers and how you can leverage on this information to make a wise career choice. So are you ready for our first speaker on this summit? If you're ready, type the number 1 in your chat now. Type the number 1 in your chat now, if you're ready. Great. So all of you are ready. So speaking from the comfort of his home all the way in the US, let's give Laurence Liu a warm welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Laurence. Hi, how are you? It's great to have you on board this summit.
I'm doing good. It is 8 p.m. here, and so I'm very happy to be in the morning time in Malaysia.
Well. I met Laurence when he came to Malaysia last year with a group of students, right? And I think they did fantastic work in this part of the world. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you guys did here in Malaysia last year or in Asia?
Oh yeah, sure. So I lead a social entrepreneurship program here at Phil Hill College in Silicon Valley. And so I brought a number of students to Malaysia to interact with people in Kuching. And we worked with high school students and elementary school students to exchange and share education and information back and forth. It was an amazing experience for us. And we can't wait to go back to Malaysia again.
Right. Okay. So you're going to talk to us about careers this morning over here. Without further ado, I'd like to hand the session over to Laurence. I'll go off screen for a while and I'll come back later for the Q&A session with you. All right.
Thanks, Joey. So I think I have shared my screen. I hope you can see it. Right now, you should see a blue screen with San Francisco and Kuala Lumpur as words on the screen. You also see a QR code, and you may see slido.com with a number assigned D286. I'm going to ask you, because I'm very used to interacting with people, and right now I'm looking at my computer, just as you guys all are, and I see a lot of happy faces. I also see a lot of black screens, black boxes. So I'm hoping that I can interact with you more through this medium, Slido. If you have a smartphone, you can scan the QR code, and it will bring you to a screen where you can actually answer the same question that Joey asked you earlier, which was, where are you dialing in from? It will appear on the screen here in front of you. And so if I can ask you to do that, I see Japan coming up. You can also do it on your computer if you have that. Well, a lot of people from Japan's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I see Malaysia, I see Kuala Lumpur. And so I'm going to use this medium, Slido, with this QR code to interact with you during the rest of my talk today. So I'm hopefully able to actually hear your voice, even though I can't hear it. I can see the things that you're saying on this screen. So I see, wow, Malaysia's getting bigger. Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna start, and let's move to the title of this talk. It's Careers in the 21st Century and How to Navigate the Road Ahead. I have done a lot of work in cities across the planet, and I noticed a lot of interesting things around the world, but I'm not here today to tell you what career to pick or what major to have. I am just going to show you a little bit about my experience with students that I teach here in the United States, and perhaps you can find some interesting stories, interesting information and insight that can help you. As you notice, I hope, I want you to engage and interact. So I'm going to be asking you lots of questions, and hopefully you will give me some of your insights and your thoughts as well. You can do this through chat. You've done it already. I see all of you doing that. You can also do it through reactions in the reactions button here. If you have access to Zoom, I know some of you are coming through Zoom and some of you are coming through Facebook. If you're coming through Zoom, can you give me a thumbs up? I see some of you doing it. Okay. Okay. So then what I'm gonna ask you now to do something next, which is, can you tell me, you came to this first talk. Why did you come to this talk? What did you want to learn? I see some of you have said already. You want successful career. What's the best major? How to get a job? What things are you thinking? Take a few minutes and then just type what you're thinking that you're going to want to get from this. I just type like that. I'm hoping. Let's see. Get a job that will be financially stable. That is all. That's great. To be more certain about the major that I'm taking. This is very interesting. We are in uncertain times. To find the career that best suits me, I want to learn things that I did not know before. This is a time in your life when you can do that. What jobs will still exist way into the future? That's interesting too. I love to talk about those kinds of things. So it sounds like I'm hearing a bunch of people talk about different things to find a suitable major. there's some commonality to this, and it's helpful for me because I can hear what you're saying, and then hopefully got skills needed for the next 30 years. That's amazing, 30 years into the future. To be certain with my future goals. Lots and lots of great things. Really good to see this. To learn about different career opportunities and majors. Awesome. So I'm gonna continue forward. It sounds like that you're in the right place. I'm not going to be able to give you answers, but I hopefully will shed some light on all of these different areas and questions that you have. A lot of these questions that you have, they seem to go into the same kind of vein. How can you plan for the careers of the future? Right now, we are in a very interesting time, right? The world is very different now than it was a year ago, or even 6 months ago. The world is changing, and you have to prepare for the unexpected. And in today's talk, in the next 40 minutes or so, I'm going to talk to you about where we've been and where we might be going. So we're going to talk a little bit about a journey. And I'm going to start first with what I call conventional wisdom, stuff that you probably grew up with, and go from there into some of the recent past, the rise of the machines. We kind of know that technology is a big deal in our lives these days. And then a few months ago, we had a crisis. And I want to talk a little bit about that and how it's shaping our world and how we can go into the future knowing what's happening. We'll talk a little bit about what it all means. And I'm gonna end with a story about the school where I teach, Foothill College, and tell you what we do there and share with you some of my students' stories. Before I get started though, I wanna talk a little bit about one of my students. His name is Chris Wemp, and that's him right there on the screen. He's a great student. He, from a very young age, he knew what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a musician. You can see he's playing piano, he's a wonderful pianist. And he wanted to be a musician for his profession. But he also wanted to make a difference. He wanted to do something really meaningful in his life. So he decided to match the two loves of his life, doing good in the world and music. And he decided to study to become a music director at a Catholic church. And he did that. He got an undergraduate degree in that. He actually got a great job at a Catholic church, and he went on into his journey. On March 24th of this year, he got a call and he got laid off. He was devastated. He didn't know what to do. The job that he had picked for his whole life, because of the COVID situation, he wasn't able to continue. So he was trying to figure out, what will I do with my life? And he looked around and he's like, I want to be a musician, but I don't know if it's possible for me to do that. So he figured out something. He says, well, let's try something different. So he actually took a class with me in spring of this year online. And the class was data analytics, data science. And he was a musician. He didn't know anything about data. He just heard it was an interesting thing. He decided to take that class. And because he took the class, he found that he had a knack for data, and he found also that he liked what data could do for you. So he decided to take a certificate in that field, data analytics. He finished this class with me at the end of the spring term, and he was going to continue taking more classes with other professors at the college. And about 2 weeks later, I get a call from him in the summertime. This is now middle of July this year. He said, I have to tell you something. I got a job. And I said, oh my God, it's so great, congratulations. And he proceeded to tell me that he got a job doing not exactly music, but he's working for an organization that helps homeless people. And so he's doing good for the community, and he's using data analytics to do it. So he was a musician, and he got laid off, and he took a class, and now he's got a new job. This is a story that I think is interesting. Now, many of you are not in the same place where Chris is. He graduated and got a job. You guys are in the beginning of your journey. But I think, and I'm hoping that you can see an interesting trend here. And we're going to talk more about that in the next several minutes. So let's get started. Conventional wisdom. I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever been asked this? What do you want to be when you grow up? Okay, tell me. Go on to Slido and just say yes, no, or I can't remember. Whoa. Lots of people say yes. I don't see anyone say no yet. It's yes, 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 yes. So I'm imagining that most of you, if not all of you, and maybe there's one who can't remember, or maybe it's not been asked, you've been asked this question before. And I'm going to ask you another question. You don't have to answer this one, but just think about it in your head. For how many of you, when you got asked this question, or maybe you're thinking about it now, what do you want to be when you grow up? Does it cause you any stress or anxiety or anything? So keep it in your head. To remember conventional wisdom, you probably have been told by your parents and by other people that picking the right major and picking the right career is the key to success. This is conventional wisdom. This is something we've all been told. I was told this when I was growing up. Choosing the right career can help you have a stable job, have a wonderful life as you move forward. I listened to my parents, actually. My parents said, you should consider becoming a computer science engineer. So I did. And not because, I mean, obviously my parents told me to do it, but I actually was a nerd and I liked it. So I chose it. Actually, let me tell you a little bit about myself, right? Who am I? Why should you be listening to me? I mean, I'm here and Joey invited me. She was gracious to do so. I'm in this picture. This is actually us last year in the Philippines. And can you find me? I'm there, right there. And so this is a high school in the Philippines where we went to do some work with students there. I am a college professor. You know me as that. That's what I am. But I haven't been that for my whole life. And in fact, when I was young, my parents owned a Chinese restaurant and I grew up in the restaurant. I was a waiter and a busboy and all those things there. I have an interesting career path from waiter when I was young to college professor. I actually got, as Joyce mentioned, I got a computer engineering degree from UCLA. I started work in computer science. I found that I liked it, but I really liked working with people. So I went back to school and got an MBA. And oh, I forgot about the musician. I was a musician. I went back to school and got a music degree because I really love music. And I did work in the music realm for a period of time. But that didn't satisfy me for a long period of time. I then switched to data science. I worked for IBM. I did a lot of work there in databases and all sorts of techie kind of things. After that, I actually moved into biotech, and I worked for a company called Genentech, where I was helping people to develop drugs, treatments for people with bad diseases. So we did a lot of work there. And then from there, I actually moved into social entrepreneurship, trying to use business skills for social good, to try and help people in the world. And from there, I moved to college professor. That's my path. I didn't have one career. My parents said, you pick computer science and you can be set for life. And many of those of you who are starting off your career as college students, maybe your parents have had a wonderful career in the path that they chose. Nowadays, it's different. Technology has come around, and you guys have been born into a wonderful period of our lives where technology is just coming faster and faster and changing our lives for the better. But it's disrupted our one career, one lifetime model. And I'm here to tell you that this is not actually a bad thing. This is a good thing for those of you who are thinking about your college career, because it takes a little bit of the pressure off. You don't have to be worried about picking the absolute right career or the absolute right major, because it's very likely that in your lifetime, you will have many careers, many majors. And we'll talk more about that. The world's changing. Prepare for the unexpected. rise of the machines. So I think those of you who are on this call, you probably know a lot about different technologies. You know about, I mean, you have your smartphones, you use them all the time. You probably have seen things on TV or in the movies about different kinds of technologies like, say, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, or artificial intelligence, or you name it, there's a bunch. And the truth is there are a gazillion, that's a real number, technologies out there these days, and they're all over, and each one of them is important in its own way, and it can impact us in huge, in huge ways. For you as people coming into your own, learning about how to pick a major or come into the college world, it's probably good for you to know about these things and understand what they do, because these technologies are going to affect us in all sorts of ways. And that's been happening in history for a long, long time. Advances in technology, they consistently allow us to move forward and to change and to be better and do better and be bigger than we are. When you think about technology, you might think about all the things that are happening now, like I mentioned about artificial intelligence and other things. But technology changes have happened for hundreds and hundreds of years. And in fact, you might think about the Industrial Revolution, which happened back in the 1700s. That was the first time technology really changed the shape of the world. And when it changed the shape of the world, it also changed the way we work. You may not recall, but if you go back to your history, you'll think about things like the invention of the sewing machine or the loom, or the invention of steam power. And those things caused work to change. It's the same every time technology keeps going. So in the 1700s, this happened. In the 1800s, this also happened with the advance of electricity. More recently, things like the internet. Can you imagine, or did any of you remember a time when there was no internet? Can you imagine that? It's kind of strange, right? And now we're in what they call the fourth industrial revolution, or Industry 4.0. This is us now going into the future. And every time these things happen, it changes how we work. And so the question is, how is technology now going to change us in the future? Right now, how is it going to change? Think about all those technologies, robots, drones, all the different things. So I'm going to ask you this. What impact do you think that technology will have on jobs in the future? Do you think that it's going to, A, increase the number of jobs that are going to be available to you in the workplace in the future? B, decrease? C, no change? Or D, I don't really know. What do you think? It's interesting, neck and neck, 50-50 now. Some people don't, that's okay if you don't know. Some people say no impact. We're getting a bunch of people telling us what you think. Very cool. Very cool. So, so it looks like we are a little bit divided, right? Some people think it's going to decrease. A little majority think it's going to decrease. Some people think it's going to increase. Some people don't know. That's okay. It's good to learn. Some people think it's going to have no impact. The thing is, in the world today, not everyone agrees how technology is going to change the work that we do. Some people say, the World Economic Forum says, well, actually, we think it's going to increase the number of jobs that are out there in the global marketplace. McKinsey & Company, a consulting research firm, says that actually jobs held by people your age, 18 to 34, may become automated, right? Taken over by robots. And so you young people, you're gonna have to need to find new career paths. Maybe you're gonna have to find new jobs because the jobs that you would have likely taken just out of college, or maybe while you're working your way through college, maybe they'll be gone. Not everyone agrees, but they do agree on this, that existing jobs are probably going to go away, existing jobs that we have. Can you think of jobs that you know are going to be going away? Think about it. I have a story story about, do you guys know this thing? It's called Bingo Box. Bingo Box. It's a convenience store, and I think it's in Asia. But it's a similar concept to, yeah, Shell has one. Excellent. Yes, I think it's in Malaysia for sure. And Bingo Box is like a convenience store that you don't, that when you go in, there's nobody in there, just you. You can go in and you can pick up, you know, a sandwich, and you can pick up a drink, and you can just, you know, walk out. And it has no cashier. It's like a 7-Eleven or a Circle K, but there's no one inside. And this is because they've automated the cashier. They don't need it. In the United States, we have a similar thing called Amazon Go. You guys know Amazon. Amazon Go is like 7-Eleven with no people inside, except for the people that are going in to take the stuff. So it seems like they're stealing, but they're not. They're just going in, and the technology actually keeps track of the things that they're buying. Oxford University says that by 2030, 8.5% of the global manufacturing workforce, if you're working in manufacturing, almost 10% of the jobs that are there are going to be taken over by robots, right? You can imagine that, right? It's like if I'm putting together a car, or if I'm assembling some machine, a robot could probably do it better and faster. They don't have to sleep. They don't have to eat. It'd probably be better. And so this is an example of automation technology taking our jobs. Here's another one. PricewaterhouseCoopers, another consulting research firm, they say that by 2035, 30% of the global workforce may be taken over by technology. Here's their projection. Now remember this. I'm going to test you. No, I'm not. In the early 2020s, we're in 2020 today, right? So they say in the early 2020s, maybe 2021 or 2022, about 3%, they predict about 3% of existing jobs will be taken away by automation. And over time, from the early 20s to the late 2020s, it's going to be 90%. In the late 2020s, and in 2035, it's 30%. But in the early part, remember, 3%. They think that it's going to go away. Malaysia too. Malaysia, your jobs are in jeopardy. Not in a bad way. It's just that some of the existing jobs, because of the nature of the work, it might be in danger of going away. I don't mean to scare you. This is not scary. We want to help you to get into the future. Remember, the world is changing. You have to prepare for the unexpected. Crisis of a generation. Now, take a think. Think a little bit. Remember, I'm pretty sure you can remember when was the first time, or remember what you were doing when you first had gotten impacted by COVID somehow. You probably remember. I remember it was March 16th. I remember because I got an email that said, "Don't come to work." And I remember looking on the news and having Mayor London Breed, the mayor of San Francisco, say, "You all have to stay home." And this was a change, right? It was a huge change. And in the past, since March 16th, when that happened, that's about 5 months ago, many things have happened here. Many changes have occurred. I haven't gone out of my house very much, if at all. Most of my interactions have been through the Zoom room or online. I haven't seen my family for a long time. There are some good things. I've actually connected with my friends and family and other people, some of them more than I have in the past. Just, how are you doing? I miss you, all those things. And here in this talk, I'm really happy to be with you to talk a little bit about the changes that are happening with respect to the job market, because I want to help you understand what's going on. So tell me a little bit about how you experienced change. Do you remember the first time you experienced something? Was there something in your home that that's changed differently? Something at school, something at work? How has your life changed? Say one thing. I don't know what it would be, but it'd be interesting to see what you guys can tell me. I couldn't leave my home for much. That's me too. Anybody, anything? Yeah, education is different online. I could tell you a lot, and I mean that's a button for me. So I worry about the interaction, which is why I always want to get interaction. I see so many black boxes. I don't see your faces. It's really hard to interact. I can't hang out with my friends. Yeah, of course you can't hang out. Can't visit your home country. That's awful. Right? Can't go and see your family. Can't go back home. Working online, working from home, trips canceled. All of this is true. All of these things have happened. The change that has happened in the past 6 months is more drastic than it has been. Teaching and learning methods have changed. Yes. So a lot of things. And this is our new current reality. Change is happening at an even more drastic and fast pace. So this is something that we have to deal with. Yeah, being kind of bored. I'm bored sometimes at home too. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about some of the changes that have happened due to the pandemic in the job market. You probably know this, and it's probably information that is just repeat for you, but it bears repeating. The pandemic in the United States drastically impacted us. About 20.6 million, depending on who you ask, about 14.7% unemployment. That is huge for us. Singapore too. Singapore, 1 in 4. This is according to jobstreet.com. Singapore, 1 in 4 Singaporeans have lost their jobs due to COVID and the pandemic. In the world, do you remember? I said remember that statistic in the early 2020s. Jobs lost due to technology around 3%, rising to 30% in 2035. Right, 3% to 30%. Look at what the rate of job loss due to the pandemic in the past 4 or 5 months. 14% job loss globally. Right? Look at Africa, America, Arab states, Asia and Pacific, Europe, and Central Asia. America is where I live. That's where it's biggest hit. 14%. PricewaterhouseCoopers estimated 3%. The pandemic has accelerated this job loss. It's not a happy statistic, but I'll talk to you a little bit more about what we can see and what we can do. Students are adjusting to the changing job market. You guys are doing the same, right? You're coming here to this virtual summit to learn a little bit more, and hopefully we can help you navigate through these changing times. What's happening in the students? Well, some students are thinking about changing their career paths. So they call the graduating class of 2020 the class of COVID-19. And so it's interesting because many of these students who may have picked one major and then one career, they are thinking about other possible things. Students who graduated with a job, sometimes some of them lost their jobs. The companies had to rescind their jobs. Some incoming freshmen into colleges are thinking about not attending. They're thinking about taking what they call a gap year. A gap year is just stopping for a little bit. I don't encourage doing that, but this is something that is happening in the world. Let me ask you guys again. What's it like for you? You asked a lot of things about what you want to do for your futures. In these past 5 months, have you thought about changing your plans for the future? And if so, what have you been done? Remain the same. Not really. So you guys are still, those of you who just answered, you're still going forward, which is, I imagine you guys are still thinking about going to school and picking the right major and doing all those things. That is cool. No change, but I'm more nervous, more pressure. It's normal to feel pressure in these uncertain times. You've read about other jobs. We'll talk a little bit about that, job opportunities. We're going to talk about that because, we've just talked a few minutes about huge change due to technology over the past couple decades. and change due to the pandemic in the past 6 months, that change has just been really fast. And so what does that really mean? I have 3 more years left at school, so I think it doesn't really change. What does that really mean? Vaccine. We'll talk about what it means. Let's think about it. Technology is going to continue to drive change in the job market, right? Because technology is going to continue to get better. They're going to, all the different types of technologies, the disruptive technologies, they're going to do things for us that make our lives easier. They're going to make work simpler. All these things are going to get better. So, you know, the workforce in developed nations likely to be significantly affected. And the change in the job market, it's not just going to affect manual labor. It's going to affect people who think as well. So if you think that you can have a safe job, for example, as an accountant, I'm picking on accountants, but I love them. You have to think twice, because some jobs in accounting will still be here, but some may be going away. And this is the same in all sorts of majors, all sorts of careers, even computer science, like where I came from. There are going to be computer science jobs that go away due to automation. And what I'm going to try and help you is understand what that could be. Maybe, and that will help you. Some of you are thinking, what major should I pick, or what careers should I go into? Hopefully this will help you to think about that. So what kind of jobs could be replaced by technology? I gave you a hint. It's in the words on the page. Usually it has to do with the characteristic of the work that you're doing. The characteristic of the work, so common traits of the work that could be replaced by technology. Any work that's really well defined, that's repetitive, that's predetermined or routine, that's based on some sort of rule or series of steps, whether it's manual labor, physical labor, or mental labor. These can help you to pinpoint or identify potential jobs that might be ripe for automation, right? And what kind of jobs might that be? So jobs that might be in danger. Take a look at this list. I would imagine that some of you said, really? Or somebody said, oh, that makes sense. Now think about the actual tasks that these different job functions perform. I'm not saying that these functions will go away. That's not my thought, and not the thought of people who are thinking about this much more than I am, of experts in the future of work, the world of work. It is that in some of these jobs, there are some portions or aspects of their work that are repetitive or predetermined or routine or rules-based. And those portions could go away. Take surgeons. Surgeons, highly paid, highly skilled. But there are some aspects where machines, robots, might be able to perform better. I don't know if you've heard of this latest breaking news. You may have heard of a young man named Elon Musk. He's not that young, but he's the man. And he just announced Neuralink, and there was a demo today. It is a company that touts putting computer chips into the human brain to help improve your function. You got to put the chip in the brain, which means you have to do surgery, right? You have to actually cut open the brain and put a chip in it. So I don't think I'd want to do that. Maybe a few years down the road. But if you look at them, you can download it, YouTube. They show a video of an example of it. If you see what they do, they actually use an automated robotic surgeon to do this, because the work is so delicate and it's very hard for a human to do it. Doesn't mean that surgeons will go away. It just means certain work might be done better by technology, right? So if that's the case, right? Now you can use these traits to try and help you think which jobs, which parts of jobs might be going away. If that's the case, what do? Well, you focus on the work that technology can't do, because technology, while it's really great, like the internet, really great, TikTok, really great. It can't do everything. So you got to think about what it can do and what it can't do. So the things it can do, we talked to you about it just in the previous slide. Things it can do repetitive tasks, things that are routine, things that are well defined. okay? What it can't do, that's what you should focus on. Work that's undefined, work that's ambiguous, work that requires some sort of creativity or innovation. These things that computers can't do, that's what you should focus on. This is important. So hopefully you'll remember this. Another thing that experts agree upon in the future of work is that the jobs that you will likely have, you guys are going to enter the college world this year, and you'll probably graduate in 4 years. And the jobs that you likely will have for the most productive years of your life, many of them will not have been invented yet, right? That sounds weird, right? Many of them, I mean, if I ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You're going to think, okay, I'm going to be an engineer, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be an astronaut, a musician, whatever it is. But the thing is, with change comes the future, and with the future comes the unknown. Think about this. Can you think of a career which exists today that didn't exist 10 years ago? Take a few seconds and think about it. Oh, I just saw something that May wrote, education is borderless. I love that. That's really great. Can you think of a career? I'll give you a hint. Do you know who this guy is? If you know who this guy is, type it in the chat box. I'm just curious, who knows? Ah, Audrey gets the gold star. This is Ryan Kaji. And Ryan Kaji is, he is the star of Ryan's World, a children's education YouTube channel. Ryan Kaji's mother is Loanne, and Loanne started this job with Ryan and her husband. They didn't know that it was going to be such a success. As of last year, they made $26 million. I didn't expect that you guys are going to do this, but who knew 10 years ago that you could do this? Or that, for example, you could make money by going online and just talking about products that you like, and you could get paid a bunch of money. If I told you that 10 years ago, you would laugh at me, right? But now it's a job. Let's think about it now. Can you think of jobs that exist today that didn't exist 6 months ago, pre-COVID, or 9 months ago, depending on where you count? This is a little harder. How about this? There are some people who are now working as social distance office designers because safety in the workplace, especially when you go back, is a huge deal. So making sure that you design the office in such a way that there are appropriate spacings and that there's enough ventilation, all sorts of things, is now a job. Who knew? This wasn't a job, 6 months ago, and now it is. This is the point that I'm trying to make. Jobs will come at a much more rapid pace. New jobs, you don't know what they're going to be. Work is going to change. In fact, work will fundamentally change, meaning that you probably may take up a job. Maybe you'll take it up as a business analyst, or you'll take it up as a marketing manager or something like that. You pick your job. It's probably going to change. Like the work that you do and the things that you're responsible for are probably going to change. So you need to be prepared to adjust on the job and in real time. You need to be able to do that. It's like you have to be a transformer at work, right? Like that, and change as the job requires. Career is the same thing. You might pick one career today, right? And it could be very possible that a few years from now, or maybe a year from now, you have to go to a different career. You might go from engineering to music to biotech, like me. So what skills are most sought after in the marketplace? I'm going to show you a quick list. This is from LinkedIn. You guys know LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is the today's version of putting up your resume. So LinkedIn analyzed global job postings from June and July of 2020 to identify the top 10 skills that employers are looking for. I'm going to give you the top 10 from 10 up to 1. 10, continuous learning. This is probably maybe not good news for you, those of you who don't like school, but you are most likely going to be learning for the rest of your life, because everything is changing. Remember, change is here. Digital literacy and data fluency. You're going to have to know all the technology. Doesn't mean you have to be expert in everything, but you have to be fluent. Tech savvy, you probably heard this term, tech savvy. Tech savvy doesn't mean you know how to post a video on TikTok or do something on Instagram. Tech savvy means that you understand the tools to work in today's environment. Project management, being able to get projects done. You have to be able to complete things, right? Leadership. Enough said about leadership, right? That's important. Now, these next few, six, technical support, especially, this one is highlighted most highly because of the last 6 months, we sheltering in place. We were in our homes. We have to rely on the internet. We have to rely on technology to get things done. Technical support is super important. And along with that are the 5 and 4, data and internet technologies, data analysis and database decision-making, the ability to use the latest technologies and particularly data to help you make the world better. Problem solving, this is important. Business management, understanding how business works. If you're gonna be hired at a job, understanding the basics of money, inputs, outputs, income, revenue, expense, all those things, really important. What do you think the number 1 is? Blah. Da, 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 da. They say communication and human level interaction. Really interesting. I didn't know that this was the case, but it seems to be the case. Let's keep going. I'm going to do this really quickly. You might say that those top 10 are interesting lists, but give me more. So I'm going to give you a little bit more. A little bit more is this. You are still going to have to know different areas in order to get a job and to do well in the future. I'm going to tell you the 3 areas that you have to think about. First of all, you still have to know something about how to do something. So whether it's accounting or computer science or English or something, you have to have a skill that's related to your career. You have to do that. But that's only the necessary but not sufficient piece. In order for you to thrive and succeed in this future of ambiguity and unknown, you have to do a couple more things. You have to have creative know-how and learning by doing, being able to think on your own, being able to creatively problem solve, figuring out what to do. Entrepreneurship is a great example of how to actually learn by doing, going out there and trying something. And then the third area is your own habits of success. What kind of person are you? Are you a person who has perseverance? Are you curious? Do you like to look at things in a positive can-do attitude? This is really important, more now than ever. Life skills and social skills are going to help you even more. And this is because in this uncertain world, the skills that are going to help you the most are those messy human skills. Courage, curiosity, innovation, those types of things. So that's what I want to kind of leave you with. And I'm gonna and I know I'm going a little too much over. I'm gonna end with a little story about Foothill, my Foothill experience. And so here it is. We at Foothill, we teach you in the classroom, but we also teach you outside the classroom by doing and by experiencing. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. We actually went last year. I told you, actually Joey told you that we went to Malaysia. We also went to the Philippines, and we went to this small fishing island in the Philippines. It's called Kalintaan. It's on the island of Mindoro, and it's right there in that little dot. It's a beautiful island. It's, great sunsets, wonderful scenery. We had a lot of fun. I brought 20 students to the Philippines to do work, actually to help people, to try and to use what they learned in the classroom in the real world. And so they actually went there to help a number of single mothers to make a living, to make a livelihood for their children. Rather than talk more about it, I'm just going to show you a quick video about it. Here it is. The 20 students that went on this trip to the Philippines, they had an experience of a lifetime. They grew. The students that graduated from our college were able to transfer to the universities of their choosing and go on to do great things. I don't know if it's because of this trip, but I do know that because of the way that they looked at the world and because of the fact that they were able to prepare for the unexpected, because things are changing, that they were able to do more. So I'm going to leave you with 3 key messages. First one is, don't worry too much about that awful question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because you can be multiple things when you grow up. And it just depends on you wanting to choose the things that are great for you. Also, the world is changing faster than ever. So you have to be more adaptable than ever. You have to be able to understand that learning a skill by itself is not necessarily as important as learning how to learn. Learning a skill, you can do it in the classroom, you can do it on YouTube, you can Google it, right? But knowing how to bring things together and be adaptable in that transformer-like fashion is really important in the future. And then finally, you have to learn technical skills, but you also have to learn by doing, learn life skills, and continue to learn for, as long as you can. So that's all I have. And I thank you for your time. And I'd like to turn it back to Joey to answer questions.
Hi, Laurence. Hey, thanks so much for the insight and interesting session. Still screen sharing. You can unshare your screen.
Oh, I do share.
I'm still on screen share, yes. Wow, I love that video. Okay, so we've got about 5 to 10 more minutes for questions. So if you have questions, type it in the chat box and we'll address your questions. So while the audience are typing their questions, Laurence, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about, I saw that organization that Enactus Foothill. Is that something that's very unusual at Foothill or something that you've championed?
Enactus is an international organization for social entrepreneurship. And their mission is to use entrepreneurial skills for social impact. There are chapters all over the globe, and we thankfully have a chapter at Foothill College that is very active. And for students who are really interested in learning how to apply business skills into the real world, this is a very good way to do so. I see a couple of questions. Should I answer them from the?
Sure.
So I see there's a question: what will happen to jobs for teaching in universities and schools? That's a great one, and especially now in the time of COVID, we are wondering what's going to happen to education. And I remember you all telling me in a previous question that you were saying that online education doesn't seem to be, you know, as helpful, or sometimes it might be boring. I'm still trying to find the best way to work online. I think there are challenges, but there's also benefits to teaching online. So we have to find the best way. But to your question about what's going to happen to jobs, so my answer is it depends. But generally speaking, I believe that true learning at the university level is not going to go away. And my belief is actually backed up by a lot of experts who say that if you think about the type of learning that is required, so if we're talking about teaching basic skills, maybe that can be learned through YouTube or from other things. But when you talk about advanced learning, higher level learning, this is something that requires a special skill. And we believe that, and hopefully you believe as well, that this is something that will not go away for a long time. I wonder if that person is a teacher or a student. I'd be interested to know. Let's see. Another question. Is it okay for me to juggle 2 different jobs? I am planning to study astronomy or astrophysics, as well as becoming a philosopher. What do you think of that? You heard me say that you may have multiple careers in your lifetime. So there are certain types of people that have the affinity for multiple areas of study or multiple disciplines. Some people say, I really like pick a subject. I really like literature, and they want to, you know, do that for the rest of their lives. And in the past, you could do that. Nowadays, you can still do that if the work environment allows, but also it's possible for you to do multiple things together. And the interesting challenge is to find creative ways to make things work and bring them together. So maybe there is a connection between astrophysics and philosophy that you can make. And I mean, think about Chris Wemp, my student from the beginning, is music and now data analytics together. Interesting, right? So up to you. The other interesting thing about this future that we're living now, the accelerated rate of change, it's changing the rules that we knew. The rules that we knew. The absolute truths that were true last year, they're not absolute truths anymore. And so you can figure those things out, and maybe you see something that there's an opportunity for you, and it seems different. You can break the rules now. Maybe that's not a good thing to say, but you can try things that are different. It's not impossible. And so astrophysics and philosophy, why not? That would be my thought there. I see another. What types of jobs will likely be highly sourced after in 3 years from now? Oh, you want me to do the crystal ball. So here's what I can tell you. I can't tell you what's going to be, which exactly is going to happen. The 3-year time horizon is not bad because, that is based on things that are happening now. 20 years, really hard. 3 years, you can say, for example, I can tell you one thing. If you talk the Chris Wemp example, data is going to be big everywhere. So if you are thinking about trying to move to something that you think is going to be like the new accounting, before I say new accounting, because when I was growing up, people would always say accounting is that most stable of professions. It will never go away. I think now an equivalent is data, understanding how to use data, how to analyze it, how to incorporate it into making your organization better. I think that's something that's really going to be around for a while. Now, what's likely going to be sourced in 3 years from now? You can do what I like to call connect the dots. So let's think about this, right? Right now in COVID times here in the United States, we had to shelter in place. So then you say, okay, well, sheltering in place means that we're not going to go out very much. And we also are now much more concerned with hygiene and with safety. So if you connected the dots, you could say, oh, well, safety products are going to be really important, like Lysol or hand sanitizer. That's just very obvious stuff, right? But what about plastic? Did you know plastic now is a huge industry because plastic shielding, plastic for the offices, plastic to help you keep safe. So you can start to think about use your brain to connect the dots. I'm not going to tell you, for example, what could be possibly best in 3 years, but look around you and see the trends. You can actually develop this skill, this analytical skill to look around, and I think you'll find great opportunities for you to go into your jobs. I see some other questions. What is the most desired major that you see students choosing these days? If programming is going to be an affected area, computer science study may not be so. So I didn't mean to scare you away from computer science. What my intention is to tell you that if you are going to study something, study it at the more advanced level. So whether it's computer science or accounting or philosophy, there are going to be basic things that you can learn, right? And those things that are basic, repetitive, routine, rules-based, they can be taken over by computers because it can be automated. It's the advanced thinking. So when you think about problems that you've never seen before, or situations that are unexpected, computers are really good with routine. They're really good with things that are predictable because you can program them. But if it's unpredictable or very ambiguous, the computers today, currently still, don't have the ability to do that. They don't have the ability to think on their feet. They're still programmed. I know some of you will say, what about artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning? And I will tell you, even that, machine learning is not as advanced as we hope it would be. It will be someday, but right now not. So programming, if you want to do that, by all means, but think about it at the higher level, the creative aspects of computer science or programming. That might be good. There's another question from Han Wai Hung. Are there other jobs in the medical field other than surgery that are likely to be replaced? Interesting. Again, I would go to think about things that are routine. I can flip it and say what jobs are likely not, right? So for example, nurses, probably not, because that requires human touch, right? Empathy. It also requires the ability to think on your feet, right? Because medicine is very unpredictable, and human reaction to diseases and things like that also unpredictable. So that's going to be that's an example of something that might not go away. But think about, again, routine, repetitive, rules-based. There's another question: is animation going to? I don't know what the maybe is animation going to go away? Anime and manga. I think that depends on the people who consume it. What do you prefer? Do you guys like? Yes, I see that. Do you guys like the hand-drawn, anime of Studio Ghibli, or do you like it to be computer designed? Up to you. The same thing. One of my best friends is a musician, and your taste. Do you like computer-generated music, or do you like music that is created by human people that sing and do all of that? What is it? Pixar and Disney. Yeah, so in Pixar and Disney, you have both, right? You have computer generated and you also have hand-drawn. So it depends on that. Now, there will be notions of cost and efficiency and revenue, right? So with respect to animation, or music, for example, a lot of music is going computerized because it's cheaper. But that might not be what you want to do. That's up to you around what the consumer is looking to get. What about architecture or interior design? Same thing. Again, what's routine and repetitive? So if you are just building something that is like the same office structure over and over again, you could probably automate that. But let's say you want to build the most innovative architectural design, the Dubai Tower or Petronas Towers. That requires some innovation, and there will still be room for that. Do we have time for? We're over, right? So
I just have one more question here from Facebook. What about a course in marketing? Would the existing courses in colleges or university offered still be relevant?
So marketing is an amazing discipline, and you might think, well, what about marketing in the digital age? What about social media? Or what about any other kind of digital platform? Marketing is still marketing, and marketing has a human component. What's the purpose of it? The purpose of marketing is to understand human consumers, develop products that they need and want, communicate it to them in a way that they can make decisions to purchase, provide them with the value. So because you're interacting with a human being, there's likely going to be that human component. And so marketing, the wholeness of it, you can think of it that understanding the consumer, that's from the past, and the other things that come with the technology and other things, it will be encompassed. So, and to give you an example, at Foothill, we have a marketing department, and we have now a flavor of our marketing department, which includes digital marketing. And so, you can focus in one or be a generalist in all. It's up to you. It's up to what you want to do with it. That would be my answer.
All right, thank you very much. That's I think we've answered all the questions from the audience. Thank you very much, Laurence. It was really a joy having you on this summit. To the audience, thank you for your participation. For those who are interested to learn more about creative careers with companies like Facebook, Google, Pixar, with Sony and all that, please come back at 3 p.m. if you're watching from Kuala Lumpur or Mongolia, or at 4 p.m. if you are tuning in from Japan. We've got Mrs. Megan Payne from Savannah College of Art and Design, one of the best creative schools in the US, talking about creative careers. All right, so yeah, go and enjoy your lunch, and we'll see you back here at 3 or 4 p.m. depending on where you're tuning in from. All right, so and there is a link that we are posing now in the chat. Please give us your feedback on the speaker, and we'll really appreciate that. So if you could just take a couple of minutes to fill up the survey, we'll really appreciate that. Thank you very much, and see you again at 3. Thank you, Laurence.
Thank you.
Bye.